I spend an ungodly amount of time on YouTube. I mean, embarrassing. I have uninstalled the app from my phone, or tried to. Figured out that I couldn't. Google locked me out of that capability. So I locked myself out of the app, figuring if I don't have access to it, then I'll be a healthier, happier, more productive human being. I won't use half my day to scroll through the infinity pool anymore. Now, what do I go and do? I figure out, well, I can just go still in the browser on my Chrome on my phone and go through the YouTube web app. Now I have like 150 tabs open, constantly listening to videos while I'm doing mindless or menial tasks. As its pros, I do learn a lot. I am exposed to ideas that I otherwise never would have been. And I overall have been enriched and educated by the ideas I've come across through the platform. One of my favorite YouTube channels is called Less Impressed and More Involved. Less Impressed and More Involved is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu YouTube channel focusing on the current competitive meta of the martial art, the sport as a whole. Less so the technical and tactical elements, though there are that. If I'm losing people here, I'm going somewhere. I really love this guy's content. I love his approach. I love his standpoint and point of view, perspective on the game. But the title, the name of the channel, Less Impressed, More Involved, that stood out to me from day one. And I've always kind of wondered why. I'm spending a lot of time thinking about this. And I'm still at a point where I'm giving it consideration, but I think one of the reasons it stood out to me so immediately and has continued to do so is because that's what I want to be. I spend so much of my day with my head in the clouds, in the cloud, so to speak, on this platform. Why not be a little less impressed and a little more involved? You know, it's around New Year's, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are starting channels right now. New Year's resolution crowd. Gym is crowded. I'm sure this platform is even more so. And I stopped making resolutions years ago. However, I think it's unavoidable that at any point of demarcation, at any point where there's a new week, a new month, a new year, a birthday winds around, a certain chapter in our life comes to a close. We graduate from college, or a relationship ends or begins. It's only natural to reflect, to think about what we want to do with this next chapter, the things that we want to accomplish, the things that we want to avoid, the things that we want to run towards. And so while this is not by any means a resolution, the dawn of 2023 has caused me to enter into a period of reflection and think about the things that I regret not starting a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I thought, hey, this is going to be the roaring 20s. We got a new decade ahead of us. This is when I make it. Now, as the years have gone on, we're 3 years into the decade, as is the case with a lot of lofty dreams without any specific tactics behind achieving them. I have been humbled a little bit. But for some reason, doing this, sitting down and pressing record, uploading something, even if it's dog shit, has always tugged at my attention, always tugged at my intention. It's always been something that I will get to later, when I have a script written, when I have more time, when I have a better camera or better equipment. but it won't leave me alone. I can think of a few reasons why it might not leave me alone. I mean, by virtue of the fact that I spend so much time engaging with the platform, maybe it's only natural to want to make something of my own. I come across a lot of ideas that I don't necessarily have the avenue to express or utilize or give my take on, experiment with in regular life, working in a kind of regular corporate job where you're not exactly allowed to be super creative. Not that I'm creative, but you guys know what I'm saying. So there are reasons that I could identify. There are things I can point to that would cause me to have an interest, but there's something more. And there's something that nags at me every time I don't do it, even if I can't fully explain why yet. And I think that's a good indicator that you're onto something. I think that's a good indicator that there's something there for you. Jordan Peterson, you kind of pointed out once that the things that capture your attention in some sense represent the path to your maximal development if you follow them. That is something that I am trying to pay more attention to without having to run it through a filter of, justifying it via a career path, via the skill building lens. I mean, what is, I'm interested in dancing as well. I'm never going to become a professional dancer. I'm never going to make a cent in all likelihood off of dancing, but it is something I like to do. It's something that's been a value add to my life. Following interest for the sake of interest, and following interest because that's a heuristic for gauging the potential of a pursuit to help us grow. Realizing that that is more than enough, even if you never make a dime off of it. If I had a resolution, which I don't, and I will go to the grave denying that I do, maybe that would be it. Maybe that would be a path to living a life in greater alignment with the things that I say I value. Thanks for watching.